All right, so we're gonna go ahead and check out this video. People are saying that this is an offing online on television. Let's check it out.
Level. But Matt, my problem with this is why are we so worried about getting rid of all of the Mexicans or Hispanics that are quote unquote here, if they're illegal or not? At the end of the day, many of them are paying taxes. Many of them have been here for generations and decades. And Matt, trying to get rid of 4 or 5 or 3 million people all at once is not going to work. We don't have the resources.
We don't have to do it all at once.
And secondly, Matt, listen, there is no such thing as an illegal Mexican immigrant coming into Texas because they're only coming home. Texas, Arizona, and California was stole from the Mexicans.
Don't start that
This all
nonsense.
belongs to them. So they're only coming home. And then here it is, you white folks stole the land from the Indians, but yet you're the natural, real illegal immigrant.
So let's start with the things you said that are already wrong. First of all, they're coming here. They're not paying any taxes. You're telling me they're paying taxes? They're not paying taxes because nobody knows who the heck they are. No, they're not paying any taxes.
Matt, when they buy a product, they paying a tax on it.
Let's continue.
When they buy a car, they paying a tax on it.
You come into this country illegally. That is a law that you're breaking. And that's why they have to be sent back to wherever they came from. They want to come through the front door. That is the correct way to come in. And the city of Houston has to stop allowing this, or we're never going to get them to stop coming in here. Look, Matt, that's what we got to do. Follow the law.
But Matt, where is the compassion that the indigenous Indians had for white people in this country?
Why do you keep going backwards?
They let you all come in.
What are you going backwards?
And you came in and raised a whole lot of hell.
Don't start.
Trump
Don't start
called
bringing up
Mexicans
history and trying to
rapists.
explain
He called
what's
them
going
criminals.
on today.
Trump called the Mexicans illegal criminals coming into America. Well, the biggest illegal criminal ever coming to America was white people.
So you don't give a damn if people break into this country.
I don't give a damn.
I wonder what's going to happen when they come and rob your house.
I don't give a damn about hypocrites who came here illegally and stole all of this and now want to blame them before they're coming back home. To all of the Mexicans, don't worry about this. Just keep having babies, and in 30 years, all these white folks will be under your control.
To Americans, let's stand up and do what the hell we're supposed to do and stop letting the city of Houston be an open door. This ain't no sanctuary city.
Don't listen to that.
This is a real city.
Just keep having babies, and at the end of the day, you'll run everything in Texas. Just keep having babies.
Now you understand why I got to come here every single week, and I gotta go after this man and maybe get through that thick skull one day.
In 20 years, you're gonna be the minority in Texas.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about this. I am in agreement with both of them. I don't know if I would say 50-50 split or whatever the case may be. So, listening to what he said, he's like, yes, when you think about it, you had the Native Americans. And I want to actually bring it to this movie I just saw. I know. Okay, 2 years, a year and a half later, but it was Killer of the Flower Moon. Okay, Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay, so essentially, had Leonardo DiCaprio, and you had Robert De Niro in there, and essentially it was white people getting with these Native Americans. Okay, because the Native Americans at the time, this was in the 20s, and this is based on a true story. The Native Americans at the time, they were like flourishing. Okay, they had money, they had white maids and all the kind of stuff. Okay, so essentially what was happening was how you had the white people who noticed this, and they said, oh man, they got all this land got oil under it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our white men and women. Y'all get with these Indians, okay? These natives. Y'all get with them. Maybe have a kid, maybe. It depends. But y'all get with these natives, and then they're gonna die, right? Mysteriously. They're gonna have a natural cause. All right. So what you had was just straight up murder for some of these. Okay. For the men, you've seen a lot of just straight up murder. For the women, it was, oh, well, they shot themselves in the head, right? Or our main character, she had diabetes. So what Leonardo's character was actually doing was he was giving her diabetes medication, with the syringe or whatnot. But this was poison, and it was poisoning her over time. Okay. It seemed like months was going by. And I think it was months when he started actually giving it to her, and but the duration was like 5 years or so, but it was like months. she was just getting sicker and sicker. And then Robert and these two doctors, they were like, well, give her this, and add that into it, and make sure she takes the whole thing each time, okay, every day, make sure, all right. And then that stuff started making her like delirious. She was like this because she didn't know what was going on. And then one day when he was giving her stuff, because he wanted to make it seem like he wasn't as bad of a person as he really was, but one day he was like, you know what, let me go ahead and let me put it in my drink, let me see, okay, because he was complacent with everything that was going on with all these people dying. Mind you, it was at his hand. Spoiler alert, he was killing a lot of these people too, blowing up houses and all types of stuff so he could get that land for his white people. So what he ended up doing was, he was like, well, let me go and put a little bit. He put a little bit in his liquor, right? And then he started getting a little dizzy. He's like, dang, I'm giving this whole thing to her. Well, time to shoot her up again, okay? Because the whole point is to make sure that she dies, just to say it's from diabetes. And in real life, she actually did die from diabetes later on. But it was to say that she died from diabetes or whatnot. And then towards the end of the movie, everything was coming to light. Like, okay, Robert De Niro, your character's wrong. Leonardo DiCaprio, your character's wrong. What are y'all doing? And then the wife actually went to real doctors, okay? Doctors who actually are supposed to care for you, and gave her the real medication, and she started getting healed. And then she gonna go and ask him, like, did you know you were doing this? Like, what were you giving me? And he was like, it was all this extra stuff. But looking at that and looking at what happened with the full-on genocide that happened with the Native Americans, that's the thing. You came to their land, took all of their stuff, because you say, oh, we discovered America. He had discovered something that's already been there. Okay. It's like saying, oh, I discovered this fan. No, it's a fan. It's always been there. Okay. But anyways, so you had that going on where it's like, oh, well, this is ours. Let's go and bring our dirty cells, give y'all diseases, completely kill the buffalo. So now you really have nothing to eat. Kill a whole bunch of y'all. And now all this is ours. And what they were talking about with Texas, Texas didn't used to be in its entirety. It was a part of Mexico. This wasn't the United States, by the way. So it was already, that's when it got divided to then be America, but it was Mexico. Okay, so that's what the black guy in here was referring to in regards to that. But this is where I differ in when I look at all this kind of stuff. Yes, I believe it is important to understand history, know it, so you don't go and then repeat it. As we have seen recently with Elon Musk putting up the salute. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. All right, you saying people? I'm gonna talk about that. But anyways, so you wouldn't be doing that in Germany if you go and glamorize Adolf Hitler and Nazism, having the salute and all this kind of stuff, and they catch you, you can be arrested for that. They don't play that. There are laws in place where they said, we understand our history. There's nothing wrong with being German. If you're German now, I mean, whatever. Okay, you're you. Can't help. You're you. But what we're going to do is demonize said activity. If you go in, oh well, but I think Adolf, okay, we'll lock you up. We'll get you off the streets. We don't play that. And that's what's going on, but that's what we lack here. Is we're okay and content with having all these laws put into place to further bring other people down, to further restrict other people's rights. Meanwhile, you have a certain group of people where they don't have their rights restricted as much, even though then here it comes down to it being a class issue, but that's a whole nother thing. So I understand what the other guy was saying. But with the white dude, this is where I'm at with it, because I look at it and I understand, because you have certain laws. We are where we are. You have certain laws or rules and regulations that you have to follow. So if I want to go to Germany, what do I need? I need a passport. I believe it's visa free, but I need a passport to get over there, right? And you have to prove some other stuff. But you got to have that. And if you are trying to stay there for longer than, I believe, 90 days, then you need a visa. Okay. Right. So that's the thing. And you have to apply for said visa, and you got to make sure you have your passport and all that kind of stuff. And then if you come back with stuff, you got to go through customs, right? And you got to do, there's certain things that you have to do. I can't just go over there. They wouldn't even let me on the plane if I had no passport. I wouldn't even be able to get to TSA. They'll say, well, where's your passport? Oh, I don't need that. Just let me go through. Where's your passport? Same thing with what Governor Greg Abbott said when he was saying like, "Yo, uh, if you guys come the legal way, it's perfectly fine. But if you guys go the illegal way, we got these little buoys." Now, you could agree with it or not. That's your own business. But people were saying like, "Oh, that's so inhumane. Why would he allow?" He's like, "But this is a legal way to cross over. Just come the legal way. That's perfectly fine." But they're not coming the legal way. That's the issue. But then you have a whole nother thing. And this is a whole nother thing with it, where you have people saying like, oh, let's look at the construction jobs or the crop kind of jobs, right? Agriculture, where they're saying, well, the issue with this is now who's going to work for $5 to go and get the crops? Who's going to work for $8 to be a maid at a hotel? I mean, these are jobs no American wants to do. And I said yesterday, if you're paying me freaking $20 an hour to be a maid at a hotel, housekeeper at a hotel, and I'm getting paid $20 an hour, if I'm willing to do it, I can guarantee you many other Americans would do it. Because they'll be like, $20 an hour to go and change some sheets, wash some clothes, and clean up? Okay, sure. Sure. What's the problem? And you may or may not get tips depending on who leaves it. Okay. So it's like, oh, well, what's the problem? Of course I'll do that. Right. Of course, I feel like people should be making more than $20 an hour, but still, if everyone said like, oh yeah, $20 an hour, that's fine. Cool. But the issue is you're paying people $8, $5. Of course, no one's going to want to do that job because it doesn't pay enough. But companies get off on paying people less money because they're like, well, you're not even supposed to be here anyways. I could pay you on the table. And I mean, I could pay you, $7.25 an hour. And, yeah, you pay your taxes, whatever. But I could pay you to $7.25 an hour and you can't really say anything because you're not supposed to be here anyway. You want to get deported? That's exploitation. So people are like, oh, well, who's gonna build the houses for $8 an hour, huh? Are you gonna do it? If you pay people a livable, appropriate wage of at least $20 to be building houses, $25, $30, okay? If you actually pay people well, I can guarantee you a whole bunch of people will say, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. When I gotta be there? Who needs to see my resume? Okay, that's also another thing. And people need to know more skills, like trade jobs as well. Anyways, so there's so many different points that come into this. So yes, it is important to know your history. Yes, it is important to follow the laws. You can't just be coming. Okay, just like if I said, okay, Canada, oh Canada, hey y'all, can I come across the border? Be like, where's your passport? Oh, that little thing. I don't need that. Where's your ID? What you need an ID for? I mean, why would I need to? You think they're gonna let me cross without a passport ID? You know what I mean? I think you need a passport for Canada. You should. But you think they're gonna really let me cross without a passport ID? Really? With no papers and nothing? You think all these countries just say, okay, anyone could just come. You guys don't need a visa. You guys don't need to prove that you guys are gonna be leaving. Because a lot of these countries now, they're saying, I need to see a return ticket. Okay. If you don't have a visa, I need to see a return ticket. So, or I need to know that y'all got a plan to leave. Okay. So a lot of countries are not going to just let you do that. So I don't think that you should just be like, okay, you could do it. And granted, with all that being said, I'm not saying that it's right, with how everything's going, but at the end of the day, like, you do have to follow some rules now, okay? It's not necessarily 100% on the illegals' fault. It's not 100% their fault, but you do have to follow rules. You can't just be coming to a country and not follow rules at all, okay? But let me know what y'all think down below.